Hello, I'm Neil Cole. We are now in day 72 of this shutdown, where we are forced at home to try and battle the COVID-19 virus. And in this time, one of the things that's caught my attention is the way churches have responded. Now, I anticipated some, and I spoke in other videos about this, but we're seeing churches protest. I've seen pastors get arrested. I've seen the president stand up and say church service is an essential service. And I have to question some of this. I mean, can church really be stopped by a virus? I don't think so. Jesus said the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. So why are we protesting so much? Is a church service truly an essential service? And if we're talking about going on a Sunday to a building for sing a song, say a prayer, hear a sermon, and then go home, I don't think that's an essential service, just to be honest with you. I don't think that's what Jesus died and rose from the dead so that we could do that. I think that we have missed the plot somewhere along the line. In fact, if that is all church is, I mean, if that's the core of what church is, and that if we take that away, church is lost, I think that's an insult to the people who have struggled under real persecution to thrive as the church. And I think it's time for us to learn. I do believe that this lockdown has been a good lesson for us. It's been an awakening. It's God shouting and saying, pay attention. I don't want you to go to church. I want you to go to your homes. I want you to go to your neighborhoods. You see, church is, let me define church, the presence of Jesus among his people, called out as a spiritual family to pursue his mission on this planet. Church is always meant to be family, and family functions best in homes and in neighborhoods, not in sanctuaries, where you're in rows staring at the back of someone's head. We need to question what we've made church. And we need to be open to something that God is doing now, that is new, that is going to birth something fresh. Because the way we've been doing it is so weak. I mean, it's so easily taken out. It's been a distraction. This whole church service thing, it's a distraction that makes us invest all of our resources, energy, affection, and time on a 2-hour period on Sundays. And then we make it about, which church do you go to? And do you like the music there? And how's your pastor? And all these things. And we begin to measure our success to feel good about ourselves by the numbers of people who come. And I think this is all losing the plot. It's off track. It's a distraction. And it's weakening us. And I think God is saying something. He's shouting right now, don't do that anymore. And I know there are going to be churches that after this is lifted, they're going to go right back to the way they were. They won't be able to help themselves. There are pastors who just need to be on the stage. They need to be heard in a sermon. They feel that this is God's way. And I think if they're not listening now to what God's saying, whatever will come next will be far harsher and will take them off the playing field. So I think we need to reevaluate what church is. Jesus said, you'll know them by their fruit. True success for the church is measured not in the seats, but on the streets, the effect we have in this world. And by making it all about how many people come on Sunday, we're losing touch with what our true mission is. Jesus said, by this will all men know that you are disciples of mine. Not by your sermons, not by your songs, not by your prayers, not by your brands or your logo or denomination, not by your buildings, not by your pastor that you listen to on Sundays, but by your love for one another. What's remarkable is that it's not our love for one another that distinguishes us. It's our success in competition against one another that marks us. And I think that is tragic. We need to change that. Somewhere along the line, someone convinced us that the best way to reach the world is to have a good service on Sunday morning. Are you kidding me? What non-Christian is thinking, boy, I wish I could get up early on Sunday, go to a room full of strangers, sing a bunch of songs I don't know, love songs to a man I've never met, give money, and then listen to a lecture. Who in their right mind would think that's the way to reach people? See, we have made it come to us instead of us going to them. And Jesus never said to do that. He never propped up this model of church. He never prescribed us to do church this way. This is all our invention, and it makes us feel good about ourselves, and it's costing billions of dollars, lots of time and energy invested in just a small little fraction of a person's week, and doesn't change much at all. And it's all oriented towards the consumer Christian. They're the only ones attracted to this. We call it the attractional church, but the only people it attracts are Christians, the initiated. They're the only ones who find the sing a song, say a prayer, hear a sermon model attractive, and even the initiated are beginning to question whether they really need to do this or not. It's not actually reaching people. And all that we do on Sundays typically is oriented towards drawing in more people, more Christians to come to our event. If you don't think so, let me ask this question. Why do we rehearse our worship services? Can you actually rehearse worship? Do you have to get better and better at worshiping so that God accepts your praises? Is he that small of a God that if you miss a note or you sing off key, then he's going to reject your worship, your praise? I don't think so. That's not what God is. No, we're not practicing the music so that we are better in our presentation to God. I don't think you can practice worship. You either worship or you don't. And I believe we are rehearsing so that the music is appealing to the audience, and the audience isn't God. It's the people we're trying to draw in. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's admit that that's true. Now, meeting together and singing songs and hearing a sermon is not bad or wrong, but it's not the main thing. And when it becomes the only thing, the main thing, the thing we stand up for, the thing we fight for, then we've missed the plot. We're losing the war, battling on a hill that's irrelevant. It's time for us to get back to understanding what church is. It's our connection with God, one another, in the world, and being a people of light in a darkened world. It's setting the captives free, freeing the oppressed, healing the sick, being there for people. Church is the one another's, the things we do for one another, love one another, care for one another, carry one another's burdens, forgive your brothers, confess your sins to one another, teach one another. There's so many passages in the New Testament that says what we're to do with one another that you cannot do on a Sunday event and staring at the back of someone's head, sitting in rows. Not that that's bad or wrong, but it is not the main thing, and it's what we've been taught is the main thing. And we need to break free of that to see something new. Listen to Jesus. Do what he says.